High school history crowned 1776 with victory by 1783. Revolution won, nation born. But the United States didn't settle for a quiet start. It pushed outward, redrawing borders with bold moves most textbooks breeze past. What's up, everybody? I'm Jay, and this is what they teach you in high school. Today, we're uncovering the presidential deals, congressional acts, and declarations of war that stretched a fledgling nation into a continental power, seen by its leaders as a path to prosperity and strength. We'll pause on the major events: Jefferson's surprise land deal, Jackson's forced trails, Polk's border clashes, and hear from dissenting voices like Speaker of the House and failed presidential candidate Henry Clay and America's sixth president, John Quincy Adams, who challenged this rush towards expansion. This is the American empire, not a myth, but a project shaped by ambition and choice. Let's get into it. 1783 hands us independence, but leaders from Jefferson onward treat it like a launch pad. Presidents stretch executive muscle, buying vast swaths, declaring spheres of influence, while Congress locks it in with acts and declarations. These weren't heroic sidebars. They were the engine, fueled by cotton booms and Pacific dreams, with dissent threading through like warning flares. Facts from speeches, treaties, and ledgers reveal the debates that built it all, overlooked in the rush to manifest a coast-to-coast narrative. Layer by layer, decision by decision, this is how empires embed themselves. It's 1803. Thomas Jefferson, architect of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, fixates on the Mississippi, America's trade jugular, choked by French control at New Orleans. He dispatches James Monroe and Robert Livingston with a tight brief: snag the port city and spend no more than $10 million. Napoleon, cash-strapped from the Haitian revolutions and European fronts, counters the whole Louisiana territory, 828,000 square miles, a bargain at $15 million that Congress rubber stamps, even though the Constitution whispers nothing about empire-scale real estate flips. This deal catapults the U.S. from coastal strip to continental contender, overlaying Osage Hunt, Mandan villages, French fur posts, and enslaved outposts with American claims. Jefferson calls it an empire of liberty, but the rush bypasses indigenous titles and Creole compacts, greenlighting a playbook for presidents to seize first, ratify later. Fast forward to 1823, and James Monroe elevates the gamble to gospel. The Monroe Doctrine, unveiled in his 7th annual message to Congress on December 2nd. It's no vague musing. Monroe lays down a red line, declaring the Americas a closed shop to old world meddling. Here's the core straight from the address. He says, "We owe it, therefore, to candor and to the amicable relations existing between the United States and those powers to declare that we should consider any attempt on their part to extend their system to any portion of this hemisphere as dangerous to our peace and safety. With the existing colonies, our dependencies of any European power, we have not interfered and shall not interfere. But with the governments who have declared their independence and maintain it, and whose independence we have on great consideration and on just principles acknowledged, we could not view an interposition for the purpose of oppressing them or controlling in any other manner their destiny by any European power in any other light than as the manifestation of an unfriendly disposition towards the United States." And the kicker on colonization? The American continents, by the free and independent condition which they have assumed and maintained, are henceforth not to be considered as subjects for future colonization by any European powers. Congress absorbs it whole, folding the words into foreign policy without a vote, enforced by a fledgling navy in Britain's quiet nod since their fleets already patrolled the seas. This isn't isolationism, it's a velvet-gloved claim stake positioning the U.S. as hemispheric sheriff. The 1830s ignite the interior inferno. Cotton's white gold surges. But southeastern native nations, the Cherokee, with their syllabary alphabet, newspapers, an 1827 Constitution mirroring the United States Constitution, bustling farms in Georgia's hills, block the plow. Enter Andrew Jackson, 7th President of the United States, who arrives in 1829 vowing perpetual peace with tribes while plotting their exile west of the Mississippi. Gold strikes Dahlonega in 1828, and Georgia seizes Cherokee lands outright, shredding treaties like yesterday's news. Jackson doesn't blink. He champions the Indian Removal Act of May 1830, granting the executive sweeping power to exchange Eastern holdings for Western plots via treaties, dangling $500,000 in benevolent aid. Congress barely bites. 28-19 in the Senate, 102-97 in the House, greased by Southern votes in Jackson's bully pulpit. Here's how it unfolds. May 28, 1830, the axe ink dries and Georgia pounces, launching land lotteries to parcel out Cherokee territory to white settlers. The Cherokee fight back in court. Cherokee Nation versus Georgia in 1831 sidesteps their plea, calling them a domestic dependent nation, not sovereign. But in 1832, Worcester delivers a win. Chief Justice John Marshall affirms Cherokee sovereignty, ruling Georgia's land grab illegal. Jackson's response? A biting quip often attributed to him. John Marshall has made his decision. Now let him enforce it. Whether he said it word for word or not, his actions scream defiance. He leans on federal agents, not courts, to press the policy forward. In Jackson's second annual address, he said about the Indian Removal Act, "It will place a dense and civilized population in large tracts of country, now occupied by a few savage hunters. By opening the whole territory between Tennessee on the north and Louisiana on the south to the settlement of the whites, it will incalculably strengthen the southwestern frontier and render the adjacent states strong enough to repel future invasions without remote aid. It will relieve the whole state of Mississippi and the western part of Alabama of Indian occupancy, and enable those states to advance rapidly in population, wealth, and power. It will separate the Indians from immediate contact with settlements of whites, free them from the power of the states, enable them to pursue happiness in their own way and under their own rude institutions." Got a little weird at the end there. The machinery grinds. Jackson floods the frontier with agents, pressuring 70-plus treaties through bribes, threats, and booze-fueled councils. For the Cherokee, it peaks in the 1835 Treaty of New Akota, inked by a rogue faction of 500 amid 16,000 dissenting Cherokee, promising $5 million and a sliver of Oklahoma for their ancestral heartland. Principal Chief John Ross, leading the National Party, petitions Congress with 15,000 signatures begging to stay. The Congress ratifies the treaty over Ross's howls by a single vote in the Senate. In the winter of 1838, General Winfield Scott's 7,000 troops round up 17,000 Cherokee into stockades, disease-riddled hells of mud and measles, then herds them 1,200 miles and 57 detachments on foot by raft through the Tennessee chills and Arkansas floods. No wagons for the frail. Whooping cough and dysentery cull the line. 4,000 perish, nearly a quarter. Corpses shallow dug along the Arkansas River, ghosts in the Georgia woods. Choctaw, Chickasaw, Creek, Seminole suffer parallel trails. 100,000 individuals total are uprooted by 1842. 15,000 graves marking the path. This tragedy carves 100 million acres for cotton plantations and speculators. And what fills the void? Rails. Stephen Ambrose, in Nothing Like It in the World, chronicles how removals cleared corridors, birthed the iron veins stitching the empire. The railroad was the most important event in the 19th century in the United States. It made the United States a nation, not just a collection of states. Ambrose spotlights the grit. Irish and Chinese laborers dynamiting Sierra passes, Union Pacific and Central Pacific crews racing from the coasts, fueled by federal land grants on those very native swaths. By 1869's golden spike at Promontory, rails don't just haul freight, they haul settlement, sealing the continent as one throbbing market. manifest destiny's spine. Congress didn't just fund removals, they bankrolled the tracks that made erasure profitable. It's 1844. James K. Polk rides into the White House on a manifesto of muscle. Polk, a Tennessee slaveholder who promises only one term if elected, logs 4 goals in his diary. Lower tariffs, establish an independent treasury, settle Oregon, and acquire California and New Mexico. Texas joins the Union as the 28th state in 1845. Its border a tinderbox. The U.S. claims the Rio Grande, Mexico the Nueces, 150 miles north. Polk, eyes on the Pacific, sends John Slidell south with $25 to $30 million to buy the Southwest. Mexico ghosts him, insulted. Undeterred, Polk parks 4,000 troops under Zachary Taylor in the disputed Strip. Bait on a hook. April 25th, 1846, Mexican cavalry thumps across, killing 11 Americans in the Thornton Affair. Polk pounces to Congress. Mexico has passed the boundary of the United States, has invaded our territory, and shed American blood upon American soil. War snaps through, 174 to 14 in the House and 40 to 2 in the Senate. Volunteers surging on glory and land bounties. 18 months of hell, 13,768 U.S. dead, 90% to yellow fever and flu, not bullets. Mexico fractures under Santa Anna's bluster. February 1848, the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, 500,000 square miles ceded, 55% of Mexico's turf, for $15 million and $3.25 million in claims. Polk's quill redraws the map more than any predecessor, coast to coast locked, gold fields glittering in the Sierra, slavery's shadow stretching to the border. Motivations? Manifest destiny, but laced with commerce. Secure San Francisco's bay for clippers, block British paws on the Pacific. Yet the ink barely dries before the cracks spiderweb. First, resistance from a young congressman, Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln's spot resolutions grill Polk. Spot number 1, where's the precise soil where blood spilled? Henry Clay erupts in his 1847 Lexington Jeremiad. This is a war of conquest, brought on by the ambition of our executive. The day is dark and gloomy, unsettled and certain, like the condition of our country in regard to the unnatural war with Mexico. And finally, John Quincy Adams, grizzled ex-president in the House, votes nay and journals the blaze. This most unrighteous war, the preamble of the Declaration, is a tissue of falsehoods, a war of plunder and spoliation waged for the purpose of conquest and the acquisition of territory to extend slavery. And that's what I have for you guys today. These decades don't just grow the map, they forge the tools. Doctrines dictating domains, acts evicting eras, wars welding west. Jackson's trails scar the soil, Polk's borders bite deep, rails rumble over the remains. All archived in treaties, tallies, and the dissent that dared name it. If these depths unearthed something new in the Destiny tale, smash that like, subscribe to track the overseas shadows in episode 3, and comment, Polk's map redraw or Jackson's march, which reshaped your view the most? Your drops are the fuel. Let's dig deeper together. As always, my name is Jay. Thanks so much for watching What They Teach You in High School. We will see you guys next time on Empirical Empires. Peace out, y'all.